Good evening. My name is Michelle Wilson, Neighborhood Training and Development Program Manager with the City of Charlotte Community Engagement. You are here tonight for Navigating the Quality of Life Explorer. And so we are going to go ahead and get started. Few housekeeping items. This presentation is being recorded, so the presentation will be available to you on our Training on Demand website in about 2 weeks. Presentation slides that you see tonight will be emailed to you within about 24 to 48 hours, so you can have those in case you want to refer back to anything. Lastly, if you have any questions, you have 3 opportunities to ask questions. You can use the Q&A feature at the bottom of your screen. You can also type questions into the chat, or you can raise your hand and we'll call you up and answer your questions. A note about questions: if you have clarifying questions during the presentation, so this will be questions about jargon or different terms that are being used, you can go ahead and ask those questions, either pop in the chat or raise your hand. But if you have general questions about the Quality of Life Explorer, please save those questions until the end. Okay. Our objectives for tonight. So we're going to learn about what Quality of Life Explorer, how can you use the data tool, and how can this data tool benefit your neighborhood? So we are joined tonight by 3 guest speakers, Jackie Tynan with Innovation and Technology, Che Pak with Innovation and Technology as well, and then Chad Martin with Housing and Neighborhood Services. So I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing my screen, and I will turn it over to Jackie and Che.
Thank you, Michelle, and good evening, everyone. As Michelle said, I'm Jackie Tynan. I am the Data Analytics Manager within Innovation and Technology at the City of Charlotte, and Che Pak is the historian and expert of the Quality of Life Explorer in the city. So you're very lucky to have him here today to present this tool to you. Che has been with the city for over 20 years. And Che, I'm going to kick it over to you because he knows all of the ins and outs. I have only been with the city for about a year, but was a regular user of the Quality of Life Explorer. So I have sort of been on the user end of this up until the last year, learning the kind of the background and the ins and outs of it from Che. So I will hand it over to you, Che, if you want to do a quick intro and then get started. You're on mute, Che.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so let me share my screen real quick. Can everybody see my screen?
Yes.
All right. So good evening. I'm Che Pak. I'm a data analytics specialist at Innovation and Technology Department in the City of Charlotte. I'm here today to introduce Quality of Life Explorer and go over its history and briefly go over the history and jump right on the dashboard and explore its interfaces in details with the task scenario. So what is Quality of Life Explorer? The concept of quality of life is like a snowflake. Each person and each group has different visions. Those visions that define the standard of health, comfort, and happiness, like those blobs of words that you see in this picture. And those multiple visions drive us to gather as much information as possible. So the Quality of Life Explorer is really a tool to help exploring those information, those visions. Those visions for the explorer rolled up into the dimensions, the conditions of social, housing, economic, and environmental and safety conditions throughout the city and Mecklenburg County. Let's briefly look at the history. It all started from 1993 with a vision that city needed to identify those conditions, especially those neighborhoods within the center city. UNCC Urban Institute conducted analysis on 20 variables to define those conditions collectively and use the ranking system to label those 73 CWAC neighborhoods that you see in there. The CWAC stands for city within a city. Then from 2002, the study area expands to the city limit, and those areas adjacent to it that receive some city services. We call it extraterrestrial jurisdiction. But the geographic unit of its study area was called NSA, a short for Neighborhood Statistical Areas. And still, its boundaries were referenced from the census tract and some block groups for the consistency and accuracy of the data. And the labeling system continued, that you see over there, stable, transitioning, and challenged, but with a different index from, again, using those same 20 variables. And finally, in 2012, the study goes through a major facelift. It covers the entire county now, and it got rid of those labeling index, but rather just displaying profile data to leave the interpretation to those users and viewers, and provide much broader choice of indicators by looking at 80 plus variables. And its study area covers not only the city, but the entire county with other townships. So data sources actually grew. And the geographic unit became much smaller. The boundaries are tighter, referenced mainly from census block groups, which it provide closer fit to individual communities. We call it NPA. You're gonna hear me saying NPA for the whole presentation often. It's short for Neighborhood Profile Area, and there are 458 NPAs in this study. So this is a sort of summary of the current quality of life study. It shows 82 variables from 45 different data sources. We grouped them into 9 dimensions, and we all display them in one dashboard platform, which is easy to use, and it provides multiple ways to explore. The local residents, businesses, service providers, government agencies, realtors, universities, and many more can use the Explorer to learn more about the county and its neighborhoods, to develop programs and services and plan for the future. It will show the data sources, comparisons with previous years, and additional context to help viewers to understand and interpret the data. So these are some of the examples, how it can be used. You might want to take a snapshot of what's going on in a neighborhood that you're interested in. Maybe you're moving into, or you already live in. You can create a summary report for a neighborhood profile area. Or you can understand the trends in education variables and how they differ across the neighborhoods by exploring variables across the county over time. Or maybe you want to know about the neighborhoods that feed Eastway Middle School. You can do this combining the NPAs to explore by approximate geographies. For example, council districts, jurisdictions, business corridors, or school zones. And maybe you're a researcher who wants to dig deeper. You can simply download all the data and analyze to your heart's content. So I want to give the scenario of the day. It's a task scenario. Let's say we want to look at the housing sales price of Council District 6. We're going to explore housing sales price variable across the county over time and combine NPAs by approximate geography of Council District 6 and create a report. So let's jump right into Quality of Life Explorer online. And this is the URL address, the website address. And move right into it. So first off, I want you to take a look at the URL address, and you're gonna see me coming back to it over and over. But I think it's really interesting and intuitive. The mcmap.org/QOL/ is the URL address. And right after it, there's a number sign and number 76. And I already clicked on home sales price. You see the pills. These pills represent the variables. So the 76 is home sales price, variable ID. And it's highlighted hot pink, and anything that is selected will be highlighted in hot pink here. So I want you to remember that, and we're going to come back to it later on. So let's go from top to bottom. The first line here in the deep navy color banner is the title. And as you see, if I hover over it, it has a link to it. It's simply, you can use this as a refresh button, but see what happens if I click on it. Notice it's changed the URL address and selected different variable. So this number 4, again, is a variable ID for impervious surface. If I click it again, we'll change the variable again. The Explorer is set to show one variable at a time. And we didn't actually made it consistent with fixed variable. We set it to select randomly, to select a variable. So that's why you're seeing this phenomenon. All right. So that's that, the pills, the variables, and highlighted in hot pink. And the help button right here, if you hover over it, the first choice you have is tutorial. If you click on it, it will provide a 1.5-minute short YouTube video, how to use the Quality of Life Explorer, which can sum up pretty much what I'm about to talk about. All right, so it's a good video and it's a good refresher. You want to go back and start using the Explorer. So it's a really good starter. The About button takes you to the web page where you used to have contents about the quality of life study, the history and background. But the city is going through a massive facelift, and the link is broken now, but we're trying to fix that, hopefully soon. The next line, the data JIP, if you click on it, you will be able to download all the data in CSV file, and also the metadata. The metadata is about the data about the data, and also shape files. If you're a GIS person, you can use that, and it's a GIS file that has the boundaries and geometry of the MPAs. GitHub is the where you can download the coding. This is open source platform. So, and I'm not that expert on coding, so, but if you're a coder, that's where you go. All right. The first line above the pills, we call this pills, and we already know these are individual variable. And these are the dimensions. Each dimension have group of variables. And unfortunately, we don't have the search option for the variable. So you kind of have to navigate through each dimension to find the variable of interest. But it's pretty much all this really related to each subject. So for instance, if we're looking for the home sales price, you might want to take a look at economy. Oh, well, we don't have one. Then we click on housing. Voila, we find the home sales price. So this way to select the variable. And every time you see the new icon right in the pill, that means it's been recently updated. That's what they mean. Okay, so let's move on to map view. First, I want you to take a look at this legend box right here. This text right here is a short name of the variable and the year that the data was taken. Usually it's a fiscal year. So if it's a point of time data, we take the data right in the early July, in the middle of the beginning of the fiscal year, at the end of the fiscal year. And if it's duration of data, so it's a year worth of data, then again, it's a fiscal year. If it's 2021, then it's July 1st, 2020 to June 30th, 21. So that's what it means. Next line is a short description of the variable. So it says average sales price of homes. Then the blue text right here is always the county average. And the symbols is pretty consistent throughout the whole dashboard. It's 5 classes. And let's move on to the map. And we have the map control here. It's pretty similar to what we see typically on Google Map or any other map application. You can use this button to zoom in or zoom out, or you can use the mouse scroll bar to zoom in and out. And this is a north arrow to set true north. And if you click on the left button on the mouse and then drag it, you can pan the map, or you can right click on it and go left to right to rotate it. And then you can hit that north arrow button to set it true north. And then next button is zoom to full extent. We're already in the zoom full extent, but if you zoom in and try to explore and you want to go back to the full extent, you simply hit that button again. So that's the home button, sort of. And next button is to make it full screen. And the function buttons are still available here. You can use the function button or the mouse. And you can hit that button again to go back, or you can hit the escape button, go back to the original screen. And the button right below it is to download this map view as a map image. You can click that and save it as PNG image file. Whatever that you're seeing in that map view will save as image. So I'll cancel that. What did I miss? Oh, and also you can right click on it, go up and down, make it 3D, and actually cooler on the full this screen. It's just another feature. to make it cooler. So you can zoom in and you can see actually at the street level details. I don't think it has a parcel, but you can see the building outlines as well. Let's go back to the map view. All right. And there's several ways to select the MPA. So now we looked at the map view and map control, and we know the pills of variables and dimensions. Let's go back to our task. Let's see the home sales price. And you can select the MPA through many different ways, but first by address. You can type in the address, and as you type in, it will give you selection, which is already verified address for you. So you can click on it, and it will select the MPA of that address, which is in this case, MPA 232. And as I hover over that area, it will tell you which MPA that is. At the same time, the value of the variable that you're looking at. Also notice that it's showing the value of the selection right next to the county. So it says the home sales price for that MPA 232 is about $230,000, while the county average is about $360,000, a little bit lower. This is my MPA of my previous house, by the way. All right, so that's one way, and you can simply click on the map to select MPA. So you can click on it, and it automatically keeps your previous selection, right? And now it's showing a group of MPAs, and it's showing those average of those selected MPAs. And also, if you look at the bottom, it shows a list of those MPAs that I've just selected. Also shows the values of the variable and the trend, whichever was available. So it was available from 2013 to 21. And that's the list, and that's how you can select multiple MPAs or MPA. And this bar here, which has a play button right here. This actually shows historical data. You can either click this button to see the trend. And notice it changed the symbols. Also at the same time, the value of those selections. Or you can pause that. You can go directly to that year, 2019, 17, 15. And most of the data are updated every year, but this particular variable is set at 2 years. We decided to look at 2-year interval because the year worth of data wasn't really revealing. So that's how we decided. And I'm kind of jumping ahead, but that information, the data about the data, you will find it in the bottom, in the box, in the right bottom, bottom right, in about the data. You will have a longer descriptions of the variable. and will probably show explanation. Sum of sales values for single family dwellings, condominiums, and townhomes divided by the number of sales, single family dwellings and condominiums. Here, data are cumulative for the previous 2 fiscal years. So that's where you'll find information, which is really important, and data source as well. Okay, I jumped right ahead to the metadata. So that's another way of selection of MPAs. And you will see the charts on the right. Of course, it says about a variable. And same as the legend box, you have blue line that represent the county averages, and the hot pink line for the selected MPAs. So the bar, this histogram actually reveals that it's actually following the trends, but right below the county average, right, throughout the years. And the chart in the bottom, the bar chart, is actually showing the distribution. And those highlighted ones in pink, those where these MPAs are located. And you can actually export these charts as a graphic, or you can download the data for those selection in CSV file, same as this chart. And I didn't mention this, but this is really important. I use this button all the time, which is this clear button. You can click this to clear the selections. Okay. So we looked at address search and then a direct selection on the map view. Let's go back to a task. We wanted to look at home sales price in Council District 6. So you will see this buttons right here, right below that, the bar here. When it says jurisdiction, you can select MPAs by each jurisdiction here. So this is pre-selected for you. If I hit Huntersville. So as a reminder, these are not the boundary of Huntersville. These are a selection of MPAs that shares a boundary or within the Huntersville. So that's why I mentioned approximate geography, right? So this could be called estimates in your report, but you will see those MPA selections here. And right off the top, now we know the home sales price. Ooh, I went to 2013. In 2021, for Huntersville, which was slightly greater than the whole county for Huntersville. Let's go to Mint Hill. Same method of selection, estimated at slightly below $320,000, which is below county average. You can do the same for council district or county commission districts. But let's do the city council, because that's our task. Let's look at council district 6. A lot. So there is the average home sales price in 2021, and it's a county average. We expected that, and see the histogram here. So above the county bar here, county averages. The trend is about the same.
Shay, we have someone interested in District 2, if you want to show that one really quick.
All right, sure. District 2. And there's average. All right. All right, let's go back to District 6. Oh, and notice that it's whenever I hover over MPA, it highlights in yellow. And it's another feature. And also on the symbol, it highlights all the MPAs within that class. All right. Go back to our task on hand. You can actually just download this as a picture. And I don't know, maybe you want to insert it to your own document. Or you can use this print button here. I hit it and then there's a new window pops up and it asks you, okay, so what's the title? Say streak. Streak 6 home sales price. And so the map, of course, is pre-selected. Your selected home sales price. And I want to show all the data tables as well. Right? I want to see everything. And in the bottom, it will show you a preview of that report. You can also change the map extent right here. And then as I selected everything, it will have all the values. Notice that it has values for the selected and the county. So I hit the print button. It creates the report in PDF. So now you have the report for the Council District 6 home sales price, along with all the other information as well. So you finished the task already. All right. I want to go back to it. I'm going to close this tab. And I didn't go over this, but the bottom, the text in the bottom explains about the variable. So it explains why this is important, some fun fact about the variable, trend, and it lists additional resources to take more actions, and also list out the related variable. It takes you right to that variable if you click on it. Home ownership is highlighted, so it's the variable home ownership, and it shows the average, of course, for the selection. This is good method to hop over different variables that are related. All right, so that's that. There's also the contact link right there. You can type in your email address and text your questions or comments here. And also, if you're a web page or content manager or a web page developer, you can use this HTML to embed your map. So I think that's pretty much it.
Jay, do you want to go back to the URL?
Oh yes. Oh my goodness. Thank you, Jackie. All right. So all right. So please watch the URL address. And we know that that number changes every time we change the variable, right? Okay. So the variable 76 is home sales price, but look how these numbers change as I select the MPA. So let me clear the map and I select MPA 4. You see it listed 4 there, and then MPA 179, and put a comma there and put 179. it's listing the MPA numbers with the comma. So that's the mechanism there. And you know the mechanism here. If I select Council District 3, and then it lists all the MPA IDs of that selection. How can we use this URL? You can simply copy this and then email it to whoever wants to have that report. Email it to that person. Now you don't have to provide PDF or anything. Person receiving this email can click on it and have a direct a link to the report itself. So yeah, that's it. That's why I wanted to show the URL address, how it works. Thank you. I almost forgot.
We have another question, Che. Are we able to select an NPA by street name only?
Oh, I don't know.
And the example provided was Booker Avenue.
No, Booker?
Mhm.
Oh, only by address, I guess. Because you still have to go through the selection method. If I just say Booker Avenue, I don't think it will do anything, right? But you can click on that address and try to navigate.
Thanks, Che.
Right.
Anything else on the overview of QOL?
Okay, well, we will have time for some more questions at the end. Thank you, Jackie. Thank you, Che. So now I'm going to turn it over to Chad Martin. And as I stated, he's with Housing and Neighborhood Services on our service area team. And he's going to talk a little bit about what the service area team does and how you can use the Quality of Life Explorer for your neighborhood. So Chad?
So good evening, everyone. My name is Chad Martin. Michelle, can y'all hear me?
Can hear you, but can't see you.
Okay. Sorry, let me get over to turn it on. There we go. So good evening, everyone. My name is Chad Martin, and I work in the Housing and Neighborhood Services Department and the community engagement team. And tonight, I'm just going to be going over how to navigate the Quality of Life Explorer. You'll hear a lot of what Che touched on, and we'll just go through it. So I am a member of the service area team, and the aim of the service area team is to develop meaningful relationships in communities and to understand the unique characteristics and needs of each community. The service area teams are broken down into 4 different groups, one Northwest, another Northeast, another Southwest and Southeast. Our claim, or what we do, is we advocate, we coordinate, we inform, we problem solve, and we collaborate. In terms of the Quality of Life Explorer, it's one of the many tools that we use to capture data and just provide a snapshot for communities to have more informed decisions on the needs and wants of that community. And tonight, what I'm going to do is just go through a couple of examples on what it will look like in terms of a neighborhood or someone just wanting to use that Quality of Life Explorer. So we'll start off with the neighborhood organization list. And a lot of what you see again is going to be what Che touched on. So in this instance, what this map reflects is the different levels of the neighborhood organizations in and around the city of Charlotte. And again, these can be searched by the neighborhood profile area, the street address, the zip codes, sorted by council district, and also by the commissioners. By commission district. If you do just take a moment to sort of check out and look at what it looks like, because what we do is we utilize it to sort of see where neighborhoods are organized and where they're not. So if you look at the scale on the left side and where it says County 0, you notice that where it's light green on the map, we have no community organizations. And where it's blue, we have up to 6. And so we utilize that to just see where everything's happening at, see where we can be at, and just trying to get out, organize, well, not help to organize and make neighborhoods more active, because we know that there is an importance to neighborhood organizations. We know that active neighborhood organizations are a key component of community health, safety, and stability. And we know that when communities work together, they solve problems and they create a welcoming neighborhood of, network of neighborhoods. So in this map, if you go back to the quality of life exploring, you just look, you can go, as Chase showed you, type in your address, and you can see if there is or are a few different community organizations or neighborhood organizations in your community by typing in your address. And again, this data is pulled from our neighborhood organization contact list. So if you know of that and you're not on it, definitely go fill that out and join today. So the next example would be more of an engagement piece. One of the ideas we wanted to look at, one of the things I wanted to pull, were the library card holders in and around communities. And as Tay pointed out, we can go and look at a couple of different snapshots of the data. In this instance, on the right side, you have the data starting from 2013, where it was 13.8%. You see it ending in 2018 with 18.8%, and in 2017, 18.9%. And the reason that this data is useful is because we can look at the number of library card holders or the usage of the libraries, and we can determine engagement with that library in the community for the needs of that community, such as meeting spaces, use of technology, or just an overall resource for communities to engage and learn more about what's going on in and around the city of Charlotte. The Quality of Life Explorer has a lot of different variables that you can use. And so the library piece is one of them. Another could be the amount of 3-in-1 calls you have in that neighborhood. One other could be the Adopt a Street program in that neighborhood, and just looking through those items to see where it is engaged, who's not engaged, or the level of engagement over the course of years. And then the last example that I wanted to provide was the Quality of Life Explorer and use. And so this is an actual representation of one of our communities or neighborhood organizations that did use the, the materials from the Quality of Life Explorer data points, and also a couple other resources to indicate that they had a need based on their proximity to a grocery store. So if you look at the map in the left-hand corner, I highlighted a couple of areas along West Boulevard to just sort of indicate that they did have a need for a grocery store in the community. And so we had a neighborhood who, through that data and a couple of the resources, put together a grant to develop a community garden that's still active and goes on right now. And in that process, developed a summer program, a fresh food for a community, and are in the process of creating a co-op grocery store. So a lot of the uses for the Quality of Life Explorer could be used to just sort of indicate different opportunities in and around the community. It doesn't just have to be a data tool. It doesn't just have to be a resource to go to look at and sort of just view the different variables. You can look at the Quality of Life Explorer just to sort of indicate what you may need in that community, what's going on in and around Charlotte, or even just sort of to develop some ideas of what growth may look like going forward. And lastly, again, I am a member of the service area team. This last slide, I think you all will get a copy of, is going to indicate how to get in touch with us. We do utilize the Quality of Life Explorer as a tool, and several of us, so please feel free to get in touch with one of us, and I look forward to hearing from a few of y'all. So thank y'all.
Thank you, Chad. All right, do we have any questions? We have about 14 minutes left. If you have any questions about the service area team and how they can support you, or if you have specific questions about the Quality of Life Explorer, we can take those questions now. Shay, I'll throw out a question that we typically get because we use the Quality of Life Explorer for the neighborhood board retreat. And so a lot of people always ask, why is it a neighborhood profile area, and why is just their community not represented. So why do we use MPAs versus individual neighborhoods or communities?
Historically, I think two sides of this thing. And the first is for the data. It's for the accuracy. It's for the analytical work, because they're referenced from the census block groups. We get to use the data directly from the census provides. The second part of this is that, as you saw in the historical history of the quality of life study itself, it started from the 73 neighborhoods within the city, and they had all the names. But from that moment on to all the way to the 2011, they had disputes. We had lots of people disagreeing with official names and those boundaries. So I think they wanted to get away from that. But ultimately, I'll stick with the reason being much more accurate, much more precise data. Jackie, you want to add on to this?
I think you nailed it. I think the accuracy of the data is huge. And then also, as a previous user, I used to get doing neighborhood work. The neighborhood that I was serving was split in between two NPAs. And I was like, oh, city, why can't we just put this neighborhood into one NPA? And I get it, because if different residents who maybe live on the same street may think that they're in this neighborhood and their neighbors may think that they're in this neighborhood. Like I used to say I lived in Plaza Midwood, but I actually lived in Commonwealth Park because I didn't know the difference. And not having specified geographies of this is this neighborhood, and I have now designated you a resident of this neighborhood. That's not really the place of the city or the county to be doing that for its residents. So using those nationally identified geographical areas makes a lot more sense.
Thank you both. We do have a question from Ms. Maddie Marshall. Ms. Maddie, I will take you off mute and allow you to speak. So please go ahead and ask your question.
My question. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. I noticed on one of your slides that you had Jamila in the Northeast service area.
For the service area team?
Yes.
Okay, Jamila
And I
is
know
Northwest.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But I think your slide stated Northeast.
Okay.
The one that
yes, we'll get that corrected when we send it out. Thank you for
I'm a
catching
copy editor.
Well, we appreciate it. Does anyone else have any other questions? I'm not seeing anything in the chat. And I don't see any other hands raised. So on that note, we will go ahead and end for tonight. I want to thank Jackie, Chad, and Che for an amazing presentation. The quality of life is a great tool. We've talked about how you can use it, how to navigate the tool. So we hope that it's something that you put in practice when you're thinking about programming for your organization, thinking about how to engage your residents. If you're doing grant applications, this is a great way to utilize data to support the needs of your organization. So we hope that you learned something tonight. And as I stated, this is recorded. So that recording will be available in about 2 weeks on our training on demand page. And you'll get a copy of the presentation slides within the next 24 to 48 hours. So thank you all for joining us. Have a great evening.
Thank you all.
Thank you.